The world's biggest plane is parked at Perth International Airport tonight on its first visit to Australia. Antonov AN-225 cargo plane touched down.
For over 70 years, the Soviet Union was unrivaled in mechanical invention. They experimented with several designs, displaying their strength to the world. There is something for everyone, from flying fortresses to screw-propelled tractors and even flying saucers. Join us as we delve into the 20 craziest Soviet machines you won't believe exist. Number 20. MARTINI BERIEV VVA-14. The fierce competition between the US and the USSR throughout the Cold War was a notable element, with one attempting to outdo the other in numerous sectors. This rivalry extended to military and intelligence capacities, frequently resulting in endeavors that mimicked one another. The Soviet Union's solution to this dilemma was the MARTINI BERIEV VVA-14, a multi-purpose machine designed to serve numerous functions. The MARTINI BERIEV VVA-14 was designed to do amazing feats, such as water takeoffs followed by long flights at high altitudes. It was created using scientific ideas for effective water-based flying. Despite its grandiose premise, the project encountered major problems and finally came to a standstill with the death of its inventor. Despite its massive size, the MARTINI BERIEV VVA-14 required just a 3-person crew, demonstrating the Soviets' ingenuity. The major objective for developing such an aircraft was to confront the United States' fearsome missile-capable submarines. Both superpowers competed for supremacy, each seeking an advantage over the other. Number 19. 2B1. OK. The mutual possession of nuclear weapons fostered the formation of the Cold War, with both sides vowing ruthless atomic vengeance. This strategy, however, created its own set of obstacles, such as the logistical implications of using such weapons and the possible need for a more calibrated warning system. In response, the U.S. built a specialized nuclear-tipped artillery mortar designed for deployment from a unique vehicle. In response, the Soviet Union developed the 2B1 OK, a tank-like device with a massive barrel designed to fire nuclear weapons. The Soviets undertook this endeavors to compete with the United States. This motivation was fueled in part by the invention of Atomic Annie, a weapon capable of firing a nuclear missile with exceptional accuracy across a distance of around 8 miles. This technique replicated the explosive strength of the atomic bombs used in Japan. In order to achieve parity, the Soviet Union introduced the 2B1 OK as its comparable artillery. Despite its operational status as a missile launcher, the 2B1 OK was unworkable and had a funny look. Despite a demonstration in Moscow's Red Square during a march, the gadget received little notice from the US or the world community. As technology advanced, missile launches grew more accessible and precise, rendering the tank-based launcher's stretched barrel obsolete. As a result, the 2B1 OK was only produced for 3 years before being retired. Number 18. Hover tank. The hovercraft idea was presented in the Soviet Union by engineer Vladimir Levkov's diligent research into mechanized air cushion technology, showing its effectiveness in crossing difficult terrains such as marshes and flooded places. Recognizing the enormous potential of this breakthrough, Levkov built the L-5 torpedo ship prototype in 1937. The L-5, with its duralumin body, glass cabin, turret machine gun mount, and huge tail fins, performed well during trials. Undaunted by his achievement, Levkov enlarged his goal beyond an attack vehicle to include a fully functional hovercraft tank. A scaled-down version of this design appeared, having powerful features despite its small size. The proposed design called for a 33-foot length, a hovering capability of up to 10 inches, and a turret containing a powerful machine gun. The tank's speed could reach an amazing 74 miles per hour, outperforming modern tanks by a wide margin, thanks to dual M25 engines producing 1,500 horsepower. However, a disadvantage became clear. Hovering required less weight, resulting in armor that was little over half an inch thick, making it vulnerable to anti-tank weaponry. As a result, the project never progressed to the point of a full prototype. Number 17. SMK tank. Tanks were as important on the battlefield as airborne aircraft and jets throughout both World War II and the Cold War. Deterrence from prospective opponents required securing superiority through better tank technology. However, not all endeavors achieved fruitful results in this search for invention, as seen by the SMK tank. The SMK tank, which debuted during World War II, exemplified a period of intense tank warfare. Its distinguishing feature was its multi-turreted design, which was intended to counter attacks from all aspects while reducing the complications and costs involved with tank construction. The use of numerous turrets and a rear-facing machine gun for defense demonstrated astute engineering. Despite its intriguing concept, the tank's operational performance was disappointing. The deployment of the SMK tank in 1939 was quickly followed by its recall, demonstrating its deficiencies in comparison to other tanks in the Soviet arsenal. Although a multi-barreled layout might be useful when done properly, it contrasted with the single-barrel tanks used by the US and Germany. These single-barrel tanks, such as the fearsome German Panzer, excelled on the battlefield. More turrets did not correlate to better performance in this circumstance. The SMK tank exemplifies the adage that quantity does not always equate to superiority, since an abundance of features can limit maneuverability and effectiveness on the battlefield. Number 16. MENDELEEV tank. The MENDELEEV Rybinsk tank is a great example of early Russian tank development. This rectangular monster was 42 feet long and 32 feet wide, resembling a huge shoebox, and boasted armor that was 100 millimeters thick, protecting its 8-person crew. The tank's frontal armament comprised a 120 mm Kanay cannon and a light machine gun in a top-mounted turret. The Kanay cannon was distinguished by its swiveling and elevating capabilities and a sophisticated recoil system that distinguished it from fixed-mount guns of the day. The MENDELEEV tank's most groundbreaking feature, however, was its propulsion mechanism. The tank's wheels may be independently adjusted to different terrain heights by using both continuous tracks and pneumatic piston suspension. This invention not only allowed the tank to move more quickly, but it also allowed it to hunker down and essentially morph into a mobile fortress. Furthermore, plans were in the works to outfit the tank with a technology that would allow it to traverse railway rails autonomously or be pulled by a train, increasing its operational adaptability. Despite its outstanding characteristics, the MENDELEEV tank suffered from a fundamental disadvantage: its weight. The tank's massive weight of 173 tons, about 3 times the mass of modern tanks, hampered its mobility, making it slow and difficult to maneuver. Regrettably, as a result, the project met insurmountable obstacles and failed to gain the required financial support to progress. Number 15. Antonov An-225, Maria. Certain aviation records are eternal emblems of human creativity, ambition, and engineering proficiency. The Antonov An-225 Maria, a strategic airlift cargo aircraft, takes a commanding position among them. The An-225 remains an unrivaled heavyweight in aviation history, with a staggering maximum takeoff weight of 640 metric tons. However, the A-225's significance extends beyond its physical dimensions. It is distinguished by a massive cargo bay that extends 43 metros in length to accommodate its massive payload. Its nose gear, which is cleverly engineered to kneel, simplifies front-loading procedures. Notably, the An-225's twin tails allow it to lift huge, gigantic cargo atop its fuselage, as demonstrated by missions like as delivering the Buran space shuttle. Despite its intimidating size, the An-225 surprises expectations with its agility. With a peak speed of 850 kilometers per hour and a non-cargo range of 15,400 kilometers, the Maria remains a modern aviation marvel, demonstrating that remarkable size does not have to compromise performance. Number 14. MIL V-12. The MIL V-12 outperformed all predecessors, becoming the biggest helicopter ever built. Its massive chassis was made up of a 120-foot fuselage and a vast 219-foot wingspan with 2 rotor blades per wing. Even unloaded, this behemoth weighed more than 76 tons. Its dual rotors were powered by two Soloviev D25F turboshaft engines, pushing it to a top speed of 160 miles per hour and allowing it to travel distances of up to 300 miles. It was designed as a heavy-lift helicopter for future missions, with the goal of transporting intercontinental ballistic missiles to isolated locations for concealment. This endeavors, however, confronted significant obstacles. The MIL-V-12 required a 6-person crew to operate, necessitating a double-decker cockpit design. The pilot, co-pilot, flight engineer, and electrical engineer were all housed in the lower cockpit. Meanwhile, the top cockpit held a navigator and radio operator who had a better view. The MIL-V-12 was approved in 1962, but it took 6 years of intense testing to perfect the delicate dual-rotor arrangement. The initial purpose for its construction had become obsolete by the time these enhancements were completed. Newly deployed U.S. satellites were able to locate missile storage facilities from orbit, weakening the helicopter's intended long-range camouflage tactic. Unfortunately, the helicopter's demise was sealed. Its jetliner-scale magnificence never led to production, with only 2 prototypes ever built. Number 13. KAMOV Ka-22. The KAMOV Ka-22 used a different strategy. Instead of developing a new jet aircraft for vertical takeoff, the KAMOV Ka-22 modified a helicopter design. This invention enabled conventional takeoff before shifting to forward-propelling engines, resulting in an unusual combination of concepts that demonstrated both strengths and drawbacks. The motivation for this one-of-a-kind modification derived from helicopters' inherent advantages over certain types of planes, notably in terms of cargo capacity when compared to certain plane versions. Despite this, helicopters have a restricted range due to their propellers. The KAMOV Ka-22 intended to bridge this gap by using helicopter capabilities while overcoming their range limits. The KAMOV Ka-22 did work and was put through a number of tastings. Initial experiments revealed control issues, necessitating adjustments to assure flying safety. Regardless of these efforts, a series of bad incidents occurred during future testing. Except for one, all of these experiments resulted in fatalities or catastrophic events. The craft was afflicted by a number of challenges, including control issues and technical faults, which resulted in tragic results. In addition to these difficulties, the Soviet Union was able to develop alternate helicopter alternatives to satisfy their needs. As a result, the KAMOV Ka-22's pursuit became less important. Number 12. NIIRK. Wings stand out as a key requirement for aeroplanes among the vital features required for flying. Regardless of size, these winged structures provide lift, a critical aerodynamic force that allows aeroplanes to soar. However, an intriguing exception to this rule emerged in the shape of the Soviet NIAIRK, a 1940 prototype plane known for its unique retractable wings. The NIAIRK had an unusual 28-foot fuselage that housed 2 sets of short, narrow tandem wings. These wings had guide rails along their sides, allowing for a hydraulically powered telescopic sliding mechanism. When triggered, this device added an extra wing to the original tandem wings, increasing the wing area from 128 to 300 square feet. One may dispute the logic of retractable wings, given that almost every other aircraft operates very well without changing its key lift-generating appendages. Nonetheless, an ingenious motivation supports this design choice. Smoother landings and takeoffs occur at lower speeds in the area of piloting, needing broad wings that provide lift during these important periods. Once in the air, however, pilots strive to minimize lift in order to lessen drag, the opposing force that slows an aircraft's forward motion. This is where retractable wings come into play. They allow pilots to regulate lift, optimizing the wing arrangement for faster speeds during flight and lower speeds, while crossing difficult terrain during takeoff or landing. Rather than being an oddity, this adaptation is consistent with practical aerodynamic principles. Number 11. Typhoon-Class Submarine. The Typhoon-Class Submarine emerges as a massive representation of Soviet military strength, from the soaring sky to the deepest depths of the ocean. This underwater monster, revered as an engineering wonder, gained the nickname Akula Shark in Soviet circles, while NATO dubbed it the Typhoon class. These nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarines are the most spacious of their sort ever built. Typhoon submarines, which were commissioned in the late 1970s and early 1980s, were designed for protracted submersion beneath Arctic ice, ready to unleash their deadly armament of nuclear weapons at a moment's notice. These submarines had double hull construction strengthened by several pressure hulls that imparted extraordinary resilience, allowing them to withstand significant damage without sacrificing integrity. A fully outfitted Typhoon-class submarine can displace an incredible 50,000 tons of water when underwater and spans an amazing 175 meters in length, that imparted extraordinary resilience, allowing them to withstand significant damage without sacrificing integrity. A fully outfitted Typhoon-class submarine can displace an incredible 50,000 tons of water when underwater and spans an amazing 175 meters in length. A crew of 160 worked with precision on this watery leviathan. The Typhoons were armed with 20 intercontinental ballistic missile launchers, each of which carried several nuclear warheads. The supply of creature comforts rarely associated with submersible boats was a fascinating aspect of these submarines. The Typhoons provided staff well-being during long Arctic voyages by including a gym, bird aviary, and even a small swimming pool. Number 10. ZAR tank. The ZAR tank emerges from military history as a compelling blend of bold ingenuity and unworkable engineering. This experimental land vehicle, known as the Netopir Bat or Lebedenko tank after its visionary creator Nikolai Lebedenko, was conceived by the Russian Empire during World War I and stands as a tribute to audacious innovation. The ZAR tank defied traditional tank design by adopting a unique tricycle arrangement, exemplifying ambitious innovation on a grand scale. This unusual arrangement gave the tank the appearance of a fantasy Victorian-era construct rather than a pragmatic combat vehicle, with huge front wheels reaching an incredible 9 meters in diameter and a single smaller rear wheel for steering. The ZAR tank, armed with cannons and machine guns and encased in protective armor, was designed to man-earve difficult terrain and penetrate trenches with ease. The idea was that its large front wheels might overcome obstructions that would obstruct typical tank designs. However, actual implementation proved difficult, with unwieldiness and mechanical complexity causing it to become stuck during early testing. While the ZAR tank failed to achieve operational success, its legacy lives on as a fascinating example of unusual military ingenuity. Number 9. Lund-class EKRANOPLAN. Certain innovations in the area of military innovation defy traditional categorization, forming a class of their own. The Soviet Union's awe-inspiring behemoth, the Lund-class EKRANOPLAN, epitomizes this boundary-pushing inventiveness. This Caspian Sea behemoth represents a rare subgroup of vehicles known as ground effect vehicles, which combines ship-like and aircraft-like characteristics. The Lund used the theory of ground effect, which is a unique aerodynamic interplay between wings and surface. The vehicle used to skim the sea's breadth at incredible speeds in 1987. This hybrid construct, measuring 74 meters in length and weighing 380 tons, combined the speed of an aeroplane with the cargo capacity of a ship. The Lund class attained a stunning peak speed of 550 kilometers per hour because of 8 turbofans strategically positioned in front of its wings. The Lund class was, in essence, a ship, but one that gently floated a few meters above the water's surface thanks to an innovative confluence of design components. It was outfitted for maritime battle with 6 pairs of anti-ship missile launchers on its dorsal surface, ready to unleash devastating attacks on enemy vessels. The Lund-class EKRANOPLAN evolved as a unique response to complex military difficulties, demonstrating its ability to deliver a devastating blow against opposing ships quickly. Number 8. ZIL-2906. Soviet engineering has a remarkable proclivity for breaking the rules and creating devices that appear to be taken from the pages of science fiction. Among these is the ZIL-2906, an innovative screw-driven vehicle that defies convention and plows through difficult terrain where ordinary wheels and tracks fail. The vehicle, designed in the late 1960s, had a revolutionary propulsion mechanism that eschewed traditional wheels and tracks in favor of a pair of noticeable cylindrical screws. These screws moved the underlying material as they revolved, moving the vehicle forward or backwards. This clever mechanism allowed the vehicles to smoothly cross a variety of conditions, including marshy terrain, heavy snow, and even water, extending its capabilities beyond the standard. Despite its small size, the vehicle could hold up to 2 people within its enclosed shell. This hermetically enclosed compartment aided operations in difficult climatic conditions and even buoyancy on water surfaces. Number 7. Object 279. Object 279 is an archetypal example of Cold War engineering, designed in reaction to the oncoming threat of nuclear war. This experimental heavy tank, which debuted in the late 1950s, reflects a period characterized by the persistent fear of nuclear warfare and has a single purpose: to resist the destructive force of a nuclear detonation. The tank deviates significantly from standard tank designs with its unusual flattened and disc-shaped hull, precisely constructed to withstand the devastating shockwaves generated by a nuclear explosion. Aside from its unusual shape, the tank was cleverly supplied with a totally sealed and enclosed hull, providing a secure cocoon for its crew against the fatal reach of radiation. The Object 279, armed with a fearsome armory that included a powerful 130mm cannon and 2 machine guns, was more than a mere survivor. It was a capable warrior. Its armor, which was expressly designed to withstand shaped charges, reached astounding thicknesses of up to 319mm at crucial locations, giving the tank strong defensive capabilities. Object 279 weighed 60 tons and had a unique quadruple track arrangement that successfully dispersed ground pressure. This novel layout made it less prone to becoming entangled in soft terrains or succumbing to the dangers of brittle bridges. Number 6. Antonov A Forty. Certain thoughts develop within the area of military brilliance that push the bounds of what appears to be attainable. The Antonov A Forty, often known as the flying tank, is a classic example of such daring ingenuity. Designed by the Soviet Union during World War II, the A-40 marked a brave attempt to create a tank capable of gliding onto the battlefield from the air. The A-40 was a clever combination of a modified T-60 light tank with retractable wings and a tail assembly. Towing the tank aloft with a strong aircraft, releasing it at an ideal point, and enabling it to elegantly glide to a strategic landing. Upon touchdown, the tank could quickly remove its wings, smoothly changing into battle-ready tank. The A-40 design cleverly addressed the difficult task of maintaining balance and stability during flying, while preserving the tank's combat capability. Real-world testing, however, showed practical challenges. The towing aircraft struggled to lift the heavy tank, and even when it succeeded, the towing speed remained insufficiently slow. During these testing, just one prototype of the Antonov A Forty was built. Unfortunately, the exciting notion of a flying tank was abandoned. Now, let's check out today's subscriber pick. This bizarre yet intimidating machine from the Soviet Union era has confused the online community. No one can say for sure if it's a massive missile, bomb, or just an oddly shaped container. What do you think? Do you know of any other crazy Soviet machines that we did not mention? Let us know in the comments below. Number 5. PZL M15, Belphegor. Within the domain of agricultural aircraft, the PZL M15 Belphegor stands out as an exceptional anomaly. Originating in the Soviet Union in the 1970s, this one-of-a-kind jet biplane retains a unique distinction. It is the world's first mass-produced jet biplane, intended specifically for agricultural applications. The M15 Belphegor planned to replace the aging fleet of piston-engine biplanes used for crop dusting in the vast expanses of Soviet farmlands, promising superior performance and lower maintenance costs. The M15 Belphegor was an intriguing vehicle with a biplane design, an overhead jet engine, and fixed tricycle landing gear. Its mission was clear: to transport a large chemical payload for agricultural dusting. The M15 found a niche in operating from unprepared fields by capitalizing on its ability for sluggish flying and short takeoffs and landings. Nonetheless, despite its unique design and aims, the M15 faced obstacles. When compared to its piston engine ancestors, it fell short in terms of efficiency. The operational costs exceeded the early estimates, making it less economically viable. As a result, only 175 units were ever constructed, and the M15 Belphegor was progressively phased out by the late 1980s. Number 4. MAZ 907. Few land vehicles can compete with the massive size and technical miracle of the MAZ 907, a unique achievement of Soviet brilliance. The Minsk automobile plant built this massive vehicle in the late 1980s with a specific objective in mind: to serve as a mobile transporter erector launcher for intercontinental ballistic missiles. The MAZ 907 is a military vehicle behemoth, ranking among the largest ever built combat trucks. It is roughly 30 meters long and weighs around 150 tons when completely loaded. However, its main distinguishing feature is its jaw-dropping 24-wheel design, with each wheel outfitted with its own electric motor, resulting in an outstanding 24-wheel drive system. This revolutionary design gives the MAZ great off-road capabilities, allowing for independent wheel steering and exceptional maneuverability. The truck's engineering brilliance extends to its capacity to overcome difficulties, such as bridging ditches up to 4.5 meters wide and overcoming grades of up to 30%. The massive machine's power comes from a gas turbine engine, which generates energy for each wheel's motor. This powerful engine produces roughly 1,250 horsepower, allowing the MAZ to reach speeds of up to 37 kilometers per hour on the road. Though only a prototype, the MAZ represents the grandeur and ambition of Soviet military engineering during a period of superpower rivalry. It demonstrates the extent to which governments will go to achieve strategic superiority, even in the field of prototype production. Number 3. Project EKIP. Project EKIP is a Soviet aircraft that appears to have been built on Mars's alien surface. However, it was built in 1978 in Russia. This intriguing Russian flying saucer deviated significantly from the conventional aircraft of the time. In fact, it remains a unique machine even by modern standards. Its mesmerizing domed appearance was inspired by aircraft with no apparent body, such as stealth bombers and surveillance planes. The EKIP's elliptical shape served as an extended wing, complementing its turbojet engine. This unusual saucer used air cushion technology for both takeoff and landing, similar to the astonishing EKRANOPLAN. This unique design gave the EKIP the capacity to climb from both solid land and watery surfaces, which was a completely alien concept. Unsurprisingly, despite its unique design, this all-terrain marvel neatly matched the Soviet Union's military aspirations. During prototype development, engineers predicted that its superbly aerodynamic shape would waste just 14 grams of fuel every passenger kilometer, which was a revelation when contrasted to the 45 grams consumed by conventional planes of the time. Such implications carried enormous commercial potential. The EKIP hinted at a transformational future, with more comprehensive incarnations like the L3 planned to convey up to 400 passengers, and others even envisioned housing travelers alongside their cars. However, as has been the fate of many bold Soviet endeavors, the project was terminated with the disintegration of the Union. The EKIP venture stalled and, sadly, never reached fruition. Number 2. ZVENO project. In the 1930s, a little more than a decade after World War I ended, Soviet Russia saw the aerial domain as the future theater of warfare and began developing experimental aircraft in preparation for a possible Second World War. As history shows, this vision was accurate. Russia was finally ready to go to the skies, but among the many designs was one that looked more like a flying carnival than a genuine military vehicle. Enter the ZVENO project, often known as the Chain Link project, a business based on a revolutionary idea: upgrading a bomber to carry miniature fighter planes rather than conventional explosives. This daring concept was cleverly conceived to save gasoline on the battlefield by capitalizing on bombers' better fuel economy compared to their fighter equivalents. Following takeoff, the fighters would expertly dock with the bomber carrier in mid-flight, made possible by clever fastenings. The bomber soared into action after being firmly attached, serving as a launch pad and mid-air refueling station for the fighters. Each of these extraordinary motherships could transport up to 5 fighters, each carrying around 1,000 pounds of bombs. The sight of one of these aerial assemblages on the horizon foreshadowed a flood of approaching trouble, acting as an unsettling forerunner of impending strife. Number 1. SEVER-2 AEROSLED. The SEVER-2 AEROSLED is an intriguing and unusual innovation in the domain of winter transportation. This one-of-a-kind vehicle was designed in the Soviet Union during the mid-20th century in response to the challenges provided by Russia's severe winter climate. The SEVER-2 AEROSLED, which looks like a cross between a snowmobile and a car, was designed to handle hazardous snow-covered terrains with surprising skill. Its unusual design comprised a set of huge, low-pressure skis at the front, similar to those on a snowmobile, and a sturdy tread system at the back, similar to tank tracks. This combination of qualities enabled the AEROSLED to easily navigate large snowdrifts and treacherous areas. The vehicle's versatile construction enabled it to transport personnel, supplies, and equipment to remote and otherwise inaccessible areas during the unforgiving winter months. Its ability to conquer the most challenging snowbound landscapes made it an invaluable asset, especially in regions where conventional vehicles would not move. In addition to its practicality, the SEVER-2 AEROSLED showcased ingenuity in its engineering. The concept of merging the mobility of a snowmobile with the resilience of a car was a testament to the Soviet Union's capacity for innovative problem-solving. We hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you in the next one.